Dear viewers, welcome to the show Power Chat, Nepal's only TV talk show in English discussing developments since 2016. Through this episode tonight, we are discussing about approaches to conserving wetlands and biodiversity of Nepal. And I'm joined tonight by Dr. Vishwanath Oli. He is the Secretary at the Ministry of Forest and Environment of Nepal. I'm also joined by Professor Pramod Kumar Jha. He is an ecologist and who taught at the Tribhuvan University for more than 4 decades. Let's talk. Welcome to the show, Professor Jha and Dr. Oli.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How have you been?
Thanks. Fine.
Well, I would like to start with Dr. Oli. You are at the Ministry of Forest and Environment, serving as the Secretary. How do you see the overall environment and the initiatives taking place for the preservation of wetlands? Because this is also an occasion that the world is celebrating World Wetlands Day on February 2nd, that is tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, Ministry of Forest and Environment has 3 key areas: forestry, watershed and biodiversity. Then second one, environment protection and management. The third one is climate change mitigation and adaptation. Regarding wetland conservation and management, so we are party to the Ramsar Convention, which is mandated for conserving and managing wetlands of international importance throughout the world. Nepal is serving as a party to that convention since 1988, and we have formulated policy, legislative instruments and strategy and action plan to conserve and manage wetlands in Nepal. Regarding the status of wetlands in Nepal, so we have altogether 5.5% of wetlands, that is the total land area of Nepal. And regarding the international important wetlands, so we have enlisted 10 wetlands to the Ramsar site, covering from Mai Pokhari of Ilam to Ghodagodi Lake of Far Western Province. And according to the objectives of the convention, basically there are 2 objectives of the convention. The first one is conserving and managing the wetlands, and the second one is wise use of wetland resources. So based on the convention objectives and our priorities, so we have also formulated National Wetland Policy that has clearly mentioned a vision of maintaining healthy wetlands for clean environment and sustainable development. And we also focus on conserving and managing wetlands, wise use of wetland resources and maintaining governance while managing such wetland resources.
Well, Dr. Oli, I will come back to you
Okay.
on more initiatives that are taking place for the preservation of wetlands in the context of the day we are celebrating here in Nepal, that is on 2nd of February. Professor Jha, how do you assess the overall environment about the research initiatives taking place here in Nepal for the protection of wetlands and biodiversity? You taught at the university more than 4 decades.
You see, there are several kinds of ecosystems on the earth: forest ecosystem, agro-ecosystem, pasture, rangeland ecosystem. Similarly, wetland is one of the important ecosystem on the earth. This wetland ecosystem covers roughly 6% of the global territory. In Nepal, as Dr. Oli has mentioned, we have 5.5% of the land under wetlands. There is still, I think, little controversy about the wetland area in Nepal. One of the statistics says that it is 5.5, another says it is 8.3 or 8.5%. Similarly, it depends upon, you see, the what still the definition of wetlands is not very clear nationally as well as internationally. In Nepal, if I am not wrong, there are 4 types of, you see, the water bodies included in the wetlands. Ponds and lakes and ponds, riparian area, swamps and, you say, marshes, and you say man-made reservoirs. And according to Department of Mines and Geology, there is, you see, there are 21 thermal, you see, the wetlands, that is hot springs and so on. Some of the, you see, wetland experts, they also include the glacial lakes and, you see, the glaciers, and if that one is included, it becomes 8.5%, 12 lakh hectare area. So I think still it is a little bit, it needs attention of the government that the definition of wetlands in the context of Nepal should be made clear.
So, Professor Jha, you're trying to say that there is confusion about the way terminology wetland is understood by the general public as well.
Yeah, in Nepal as well. This one is internationally also, I would say. For example, the Department of Fish and Wildlife in USA, they define wetlands in different way. In many other, you say it is defined differently. In Nepal, as I have mentioned, that there are 4 types of water bodies or that are included in the wetlands. I think there should be some discussion on this one. Still, how much area we do have. You see, even the number of lakes and ponds, that one is, there are different statistics, different data for that. And one of the, you see, the IUCN study report says that it is the 800 something ponds and lakes. The Ministry of Tourism has one committee, the National Lake Conservation and Development Committee. That study identified more than 5,358 lakes in Nepal and so on. So I think there is a need of research on this aspect.
Dr. Oli, how do you respond to this confusion? Is there any guiding document that clearly defines the terminologies like wetlands and diversities, its land and geography and all?
Yeah, I fully agree with Professor Jha that there are several definitions available on wetlands. But realizing this diversity, the Ramsar Convention has come to a conclusion on the definition of wetlands, and we also try to define the wetlands based on the convention text. So there is a broad definition of wetlands mentioned in the convention text, and we also follow that definition in Nepal as well. So like Professor Jha said, so there are altogether 42 categories of wetlands available globally and in Nepal. So there are 19 natural wetlands and 10 man-made wetland categories in Nepal, altogether 29 categories. So we have that kind of wetlands in Nepal. So if you categorize the different kinds of wetlands, out of more than 800,000 hectares of wetlands in Nepal, almost 48% is irrigated paddy fields, and our more than 6,000 rivers and rivulets, so that constitutes almost 47%. So regarding the lakes, so I am happy to announce that we have recently completed the National Lake Inventory of Nepal. So hopefully on 2nd February, so we will be unveiling that report. And
could you share with us the major findings of that?
Altogether we have identified 646 lakes. So that is only natural available in Nepal, and that is available province wise. The highest number is available in Bagmati province and lowest in Far Western province. So, and there is National Lake Development Committee. So that is one of the institutions under the Ministry of Forest and Environment. So that is dedicated for the conservation and management of lakes in Nepal. But regarding the ownership of wetlands, so I would say in National Wetland Policy 2012, so there are 4 categories of wetlands. One is within the national parks and reserves, the second one is within the national forests, and the third one is within the public lands like Jagdishpur Reservoir, and the fourth one is the private wetlands, that is both man-made, basically the man-made one, ones. So there are 4 categories of wetlands based on ownership, but if you see the management modalities of wetlands, so there are number of categories. Like within the forest, there are government managed forests, community forests, leasehold forests, and national parks, reserve, you know. So in such categories, the management modality differs with, you know, the categories of forests. And as Professor Jha has you know, highlighted that this is one of the most diverse and productive ecosystem. Almost 40% of all species, both flora and fauna, so that is found in wetlands, or in other words, wetlands support 40% of the total species on earth.
Professor Jha, how do you see the link between, you know, wetlands or biodiversity and the socio-economic activities between the people of Nepal?
Wetlands are one of the most productive, diverse, and biodiversity-wise very interesting ecosystem. As Dr. Oli has mentioned, that 40% of the global biodiversity are wetland dependent. In Nepal, 25% of the flora are wetland dependent. As far as faunal biodiversity is concerned, I think 22% of the bird species are wetland dependent. Fishes, almost 230 fishes, you know, all are wetland species. Similarly, one of the important aspects of this wetland is that some of the gigantian mammals, endangered mammals, they are wetland dependent. For example, the one-horned rhinos, that one is wetland dependent. You see the Arna, the water buffalo, in Kosi Tappu, conserved in the Kosi Tappu Wildlife Reserve, is wetland dependent. Gharial, for example, dolphins, Gangetic dolphins, and so on. So these are the endangered species, globally important, and Nepal has conserved, protected these species very well. I would say its numbers were, you see, the lowest in, I think, 1980 or 90, the number of rhinos went down, gharials were least, but nowadays I think due to you see the efforts of Government of Nepal, Ministry of Forest and Soil Conservation, this one is well protected now.
What are the reasons behind, you know, decreasing number of these endangered species and animals? Do you consider that the human mobility is one cause behind, you know, in the name of tourism and all? It's a big risk to the animals, endangered animals and species?
Yeah, there are many reasons, and for example, the larger mammals, poaching is one of the, you see, the degrading habitats. For example, nowadays in Chitwan National Park, because of the invasive species Mycania micrantha, that is Lahare Banwara, the habitat of you see rhinos has degraded, and that has also affected to some extent. I think poaching is one of the problems, and details I think Dr. Oli can mention you much better. Arna, that you see the local peoples, they interact, and that one is also degraded over there, the local habitat. So these are some of the problems of biodiversity particularly. And the degrading wetlands, for example, some of the endemic species, plants as well as animals, they are, you see, threatened because of degradation of the wetlands. For example, one of the endemic, may I give you one example, one of the endemic species, plant species is Sphagnum nepalensis in Maipokri, but my Pokhari, I have not seen it in the last few years, but it was degrading and because of that its population was getting down. So these are some of the problems in wetlands. And
You have any specific recommendations addressing these problems?
no, there you see that one, the monitoring of the wetlands, two, protection and conservation of this one, and the research. I think in the wetlands, particularly of the aquatic plants and animals, research is not done enough. I think resources are limited. Nowadays there are young people doing research, PhD work and master's thesis, but I think some more, you see, the initiative should be taken in this direction.
Well, thank you, Professor Jha. Dr. Worley, there is often criticism that at a time when there is a state restructuring along with the federalism, and there are different tiers of government. At the beginning, you are also saying that you are well aligning with the different levels of government. Do you face any challenge at the moment aligning the international convention policies with the different tiers of government, and how do you ensure that there is no human mobility at the cost of affecting these endangered species and animals alongside wetlands of Nepal?
Yeah, after a country enters into federalization, so we are aligning our policy and legislative instruments accordingly. And recently we have enacted Forest Act and Environment Protection Act, and that recognizes the role of all three tiers of government. And regarding the policy instrument, we have also formulated National Forest Policy, National Environment Policy and National Climate Change Policy. So all these policy instruments also recognizes the role of provincial government and local government. And regarding your second queries on anthropogenic effects on wetlands, so that is true in the sense that wetlands are threatened because of anthropogenic activities. Like in other countries, we have also been facing the excessive extraction of wetland resources. So even in some cases, you can see the drying up of wetlands in many areas, and also the wetland resources, particularly fish and aquatic animals. So they have been in almost in extinction phase in some cases. The second one is the pollution level in water bodies. So that is also one of the effects that our wetlands are facing these days. For example, in case of Chitwan, industrial effluents, that has been disturbing the wetlands in Chitwan. Ultimately, that has impacted to the health and hygiene of iconic wild animals found in Chitwan National Park. The third one is, as Professor Jha has highlighted, the invasive alien species. So that is also encroaching our important wetlands, either in Chitwan National Park or in Phewa Lake, in all water bodies. So invasive species is impacting the health of wetlands. The fourth one is the climate change also, because of impacts of climate change. Although much research has to be done, but few research they have identified that climate change is also one of the driving factor for altering the wetland habitat. So these are the key areas that our wetlands are deteriorating these days, and we need to focus on maintaining healthy wetlands for not only the present generation, but also to hand over the precious gift of wetlands to our future generations.
Any initiatives that have already been started to prevent these encroachments that you are mentioning?
Yes.
What needs to be done?
Yeah, we have identified and approved the annual program and budget through different agencies within the Forest and Environment Ministry, and also other agencies at the provincial and local level. For example, if you take the example of Gosaigunda Lake, so that is the jurisdiction of Langtang National Park, and we have allocated the budget to conserve that Gosaigunda Lake. But if you see the Jagdishpur Reservoir, that is also one of the Ramsar sites in Nepal. So that is the jurisdiction of local government, and local government is allocating resources for conservation of that wetland. And in case of cluster of lakes in Pokhara Valley, so that is the recently enlisted Ramsar sites of Nepal, and Pokhara metropolitan city so is taking responsibility of managing and conserving those wetland resources of Pokhara Valley.
Well, thank you, Dr. Wali. You are sharing with us very interesting insights, but we are coming to the end of the show. I have one final question for both of you. For Professor Jha, what are your suggestions addressing these all problems to the government of Nepal? And for you, could you finally tell us your thoughts and actions in relations to celebrating the World Wetland Day along with the theme called Wetlands and Water? Any specific activities that you are carrying in the context of this day? I'm starting with Professor Jha. Very quickly.
Yeah, there is one provision in the National Wetland Policy about the you see the wetland, you see the center or wetland Simsar Vyavasthapan Kendra or something like there is a provision. I don't know what is the
Wetland Management Center, maybe roughly translated.
Yeah, wetland management or wetland information and management center or something like that. I don't know whether that one is you see the created in the ministry.
Not yet.
So I think that must be created so that all the information related with the wetland should be at one place. That's one. Monitoring is another suggestion. I don't know how much the monitoring the central, regional and local governments are doing, because wetlands are very important socially, biologically and even economically. So the regular monitoring, because encroachment of wetlands is one of the serious problems. Even in Kathmandu Valley, you see recently we have heard about the Kamal Pokhri, the area is encroached. Similarly, it was the Fevatal and so on. Third one, the research. The research should be supported, encouraged, and I think nowadays in the university courses, wetland has got enough space. But the research still, I think, needs to be promoted in university and even in the ministry. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Professor Jha. Your final and quick observation about the global theme, wetland and water.
Yeah, we are also celebrating the World Wetland Day with the theme Wetlands and Water. So if you see global statistics, so we consume almost 10 billion tons of water every day, and that is the capacity of Earth, more than the capacity of Earth to replenish. And water is used for the consumption of drinking water, irrigation, power generation. And if you see the statistics of fresh water in the world, that is almost less than 2%, and the demand is increasing day by day. And wetlands are the major sources for providing fresh water that we need in daily activities and for industrial and commercial purposes. So this specific theme is selected from the convention secretariat to celebrate different activities for creating awareness on the importance of water on this specific day. And from ministry, we are also celebrating this day in the premises of Department of National Parks and Wildlife Conservation. There will be one interaction program with the presence of wetland experts, and they will be delivering their views on the theme of World Wetland Day. And we are also unveiling different documents, so that has been prepared by different agencies. And at the provincial and local level, this day is also being celebrated from different agencies. And on your second question, I would like to request all agencies and stakeholders to conserve, manage and sustainable use of wetland resources, so that we can receive the benefits from the wetland resources on a sustainable way. And it needs cooperation from all three tiers of government, because as I said earlier, this is a cross-cutting issue and needs collaboration and cooperation from all sectors and agencies and stakeholders.
Well, thank you, Dr. Woli and Professor Jha. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, time now to wrap up this show. Keep watching us. See you next week. Namaste.